Finding out and dealing with breast cancer. Day 3. Hi everyone. On Wednesday this week, it's Friday today, I had been waiting about 10 to 12 days for some results after having found a lump probably about 7-8 weeks ago, discovering a lump, thinking it might be milk, and a build up of milk because I just stopped breastfeeding, and it started to niggle a lot more. I got people to look at it, friends, my mum, my husband, and then a couple of my good friends had a few scares, so which they were fine, but just sort of made me think about the lump I'd found. And I checked my breasts, not regularly, but you know, when you're in the shower and you're creaming your body in a certain way, I'd always have a check, and I'd never noticed this before. So I called the doctors, and with COVID you can't go in. I had a chat over the phone, was called in to see another doctor. That was about another week and a half later. It took a week to get the initial appointment. And then it was just like, okay, they seem to think there's something, right, let's get it checked out. I got a text to go for a biopsy, a text message on my phone, my mobile, to say, come in a few days for a biopsy. Not for necessarily a biopsy, it was just like to have a scan. So I had a mammogram, which was like where they, you undress from the top half, and the, I think it's the radiologist, she takes each breast and puts it into a plate kind of thing, and then they compress it a little bit to take 2 different angle shots. So I had that done. Then I went to have ultrasound, and the person that did my ultrasound was a doctor, and some of the language that she used at the time really scared me. But I'm now thinking with hindsight, maybe they speak in that way because they're dealing with so many people in and out of hospital going for checks. So she thoroughly checked both my breasts and under my armpits, and this side is clear, under my armpits is clear, which she said is good, but I have a lump here, and she said it's not a cyst and it's not your milk, but you're in the right place, and we're going to check it out, and we would like to take a biopsy. So it was like a bit of a, it was a syringe with a big sort of, that does like a punching sound at the end. At that point, naturally, tears came down from my face, and I started to get really scared. So I asked for a few moments, and yeah, I went and had the I went and had the biopsy. I had to go have a little break and then have the biopsy, and I started to shake a little bit because it is cold in those rooms. That weekend, which was 2 weekends ago, I spent most of that weekend in tears, going through a lot of emotions, obviously worry, feeling a bit sorry for myself, seeing my life flash past me, thinking of all the things that I haven't done yet, thinking about my children, thinking about how they'd cope without me, thinking about my husband, who in the pandemic lost his dad, and 5 years ago this year lost his mum. And I was thinking about everyone else, and oh God, like how we're going to cope financially, you know, all these things were just like spinning through my head. So I was on a bit of a weekend personal development training with the famous Tony Robbins. I was on the UPW workshop, Unleash the Power Within. So that Saturday I couldn't really engage, but the Sunday was good because it was all about health, and it really made me uplift myself and just look, snap out of it. I spoke to the vicar at church, and you know, he reassured me. I spoke to 1 or 2 people who were like very reassuring. I was feeling a little bit better, I can't lie. But all being said, I kind of geared myself to saying, do you know what? Whatever happens is going to happen, and I'll face it. I was kind of starting to plan my own funeral though, so in the time leading up to my results on Wednesday, I you know, I was starting to get my ducks in a row. I was trying to dig out all the like life insurances that I had, because I was worried about how Paul's going to cope with the kids, because he probably wouldn't be able to work if something happened to me, blah blah blah. Anyway, then I started to cut out that morbid stuff and start just to be me again, and just do me. And anyone who knows me always knows that I'm just busy and I don't stop and I don't give myself a break. So what I have been doing between now and then, since the biopsy and getting my results, was just doing little things for myself, to like just having an extra long bath. I bought myself some clothes. I went and treated myself to a new like face cream, like just things that could bring me joy. I started watching a lot of funny movies, like feel-good movies, and things that would just make me belly laugh and be present with the children. And what I did find was I became very present in my surroundings and looking at nature, looking outside, looking at really engaging in what smells are around me, being very mindful. So I didn't sleep very well that whole 10 days. In fact, I haven't really slept the last couple of days, and I'll tell you about that in a minute. But yeah, that was kind of really heavy. It just made me sit down and really assess my life, and I decided that, do you know what, I do want to live, so whatever happens, I'm going to put on a really good fight and face this. So I didn't tell work, I continued to work, and I did kind of message them to kind of let them know I had something going on. You know, who would have thought it would be this, but like but yeah, keeping busy was just helping me. And so keeping busy with work was just helping me keep my mind off things, because what I was doing and what I've still been doing is keeping busy, but then not actually dealing with what's, you know, going on with me. So I've had to really prioritize self-discovery, understanding that I need to take care of myself in order for my well-being generally, that I need to sleep well, I need to eat well, I need to rest, and all those age-old mother's tales that we get told, you know, when we're growing up, like, you are what you eat, and yeah, and it just showed me we're not invincible. So I mean, yeah, there is an end to our lives at some point. It's just when it is. So long story short, I had my appointment on Wednesday and I was very nervous. In fact, I got the letter literally the Monday after my biopsy, and I have to say, having a biopsy really hurts. The actual procedure doesn't hurt, but afterwards my breasts were hurting, and I felt a lot more tender around this side, and I've not wanted to, you know, when the children are embracing me, I have to be careful, because my little two are 2 and 4, just turned 4, so they're jumpy and cuddly, and so I have to be careful that, yeah, of that side. I'm just being more conscious, because I've got this mad thought in my head that what if it, you know, what if it gets dislodged or it gets moved, or yeah, so I think thinking about it made it feel like it was growing even more as well. That was another psychological thing I've been having in my mind. But the point being is I need to stop stressing and worrying, and that's what I'd say to anyone going through this. Try not to stress, talk about it to your friends or family. So I'd mentioned it to my mum. I told my mum that I was having investigations. She'd then told my dad and my brother, who were then phoning me. And so I was like, oh my gosh, I've got loads of stuff to share now. So that's my son who's just come down. I'm trying to finish this video. Could you give me 5 minutes, Simeon? Just brush your hair or something while I'm just finishing this conversation. So yeah, I talked to them about it, and I talked to one of my friends about it. In fact, no, I spoke to 2 of my friends about it. I've sent him upstairs because we haven't told the children. Wednesday in hospital, I anxiously waited for my appointment, an hour and a half waiting to see the consultant. In that time I peed 3 times. I felt sick to my stomach, butterflies, and that feeling where your gums just feel like, oh, like that. And doctor told me I have breast cancer. I have what's called invasive ductal breast cancer. And it's 40 millimeters in size. It's grade 3 on biopsy, my tumour. But they say my receptors are good, whatever that means, my estrogen, progesterone. So my treatment plan is to have surgery, and I'm looking at the calendar. They've given me the 6th of July, so I'm going to be going into surgery then. And then what they're doing is they're going to do a left wide local incision and remove the lump. And they're also taking sentinel lymph node biopsies, so they're going to be going under my arm as well to take out and test the cells to make sure there's nothing that's spread. Yeah, so I don't know. I'm just trying to take every day as it comes. The hospital have assigned me my own breast cancer care nurse. She's my key worker, and she seems lovely. She gave me a big pack, a big red pack, a bit like when you have a baby and you have a big red plonker. It's got loads of stuff in there, of which I haven't looked at any of it yet because I just my mind's just still been trying to process this. So this is the first piece of paper I've taken out. So that day, Wednesday, I literally, you know, me and my husband walked out of there. They let me bring my husband because I think at that point with the biopsy, when I realised the size and the comments that the doctor that was doing the scan had made, it did put the fear in me to think that there is something here now. So what can I say? I kind of went in prepared for the worst, you know, and I do believe in God, and you know, I am wanting to rebuke this, but I know that there's something there, if that makes sense. So it's like, let's just deal with it, but I don't know how best to deal with it. So yeah, I'm just listening. We don't have any private healthcare, so I'm lucky enough to get the NHS. So it's all been really, really quick, the process, from what I've gone through at the moment, you know, from finding the lump, telling the doctor over the phone, making the appointment to tell the doctor, and then having another appointment to see the doctor, and then from there having a check, mammogram, biopsy, and then now I think that's been, what, 5-6 weeks, and then another 2 weeks for the surgery. But now I just can't, it can't come soon enough. Like, I literally just want it out. That's how I feel. after the, I mean, I've been told that the surgery will, it will impact me. I'll probably need a month of work, but I'll be okay-ish after a week, they're saying. But it's a series of treatments after that that then I'm been told not cure, so I'm having radiotherapy after that, and anti-estrogen therapy, then chemotherapy, and then some tablets. So it seems like quite a lengthy process, and that I'm at the earlier stage of it. So what's been happening, I found out, obviously I did cry on and off. The breast cancer care nurse spent some time with me. She said she'll be checking in on me. She gave me that big pack. I left there kind of in planning mode, like, right, what's got to get done, how are we going to sort out the kids, what's going to happen, it's, you know, who's going to pick them up from school, what leave he can take to take me to theatre. I mean, luckily they let me bring Paul to get my results, and I think, going back to what I said, it was because I'd kind of felt that there was something there, and I think they did too, and on first sight, but obviously they can't say nothing until they've had the lab results back and had their multidisciplinary team meeting that I think most breast cancer care departments have, because that's what the sort of radiologist had said, radiographer, whatever they're called. Anyway, come home Friday, I stopped off at the supermarket. I wanted to go to the pub, but do you know what, I needed more than just a drink, and I bought a bottle of Cavassier, I just had some drinks at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, had some drinks, and then my husband drove me up the school, and I picked up my daughter pretty tipsy, and she thought I was a bit crazy, but she didn't actually know why. I had to, for me, like, I felt like I just, yeah, it was a lot to deal with, and I don't normally drink, and I felt really tense. So it was a bit of a release. Got home, obviously, I haven't told the kids yet, so I thought first things first. I tried to rest, I couldn't lay down. For love nor money, I couldn't rest. I slept, tried to sleep in my room. Mind you, it was the hottest week of the year here in London. Tried to sleep in Aaron's room, I went to lay down in Dylan's room, I even went in Simeon's room, couldn't sleep. I thought it was best to tell my parents and my brothers, and so I rang them up and I just said, look, I really need to see you all. I'm coming down to Mum's, can we all meet 6 o'clock? And I walked down to my mum's because she only lives a mile away from me, plus I was tipsy, and then got to my mum's. One of my brothers was running a little bit late, and yeah, I wanted to tell them all together so that we're all on the same page, and I didn't want to say it in front of my nephews, if that makes sense. So I don't want it, like, so I just thought, you know, let's just all go to Mum's and I can tell them. So I told them, and I was fine up until the point I started to tell them, and I just started crying. I just like started wailing it, and they were very supportive, obviously very upset at the same time. Who wouldn't be? And you know, it was, I just need them to know, because my family helped me a lot in terms of they're there, we do things together. We're not the happiest of, like, we're not like the Brady Bunch or anything, or like the Waltons, but we do have good rapport with each other. We do things together. We do see each other every other day, you know. So yeah, so I told my brothers, told my mum and dad at the same time, and told them what the treatment's going to be, so everyone's aware. And then I came home and I couldn't sleep, so I'm on Clubhouse. So I jumped in the shower and I started to listen to a Clubhouse, and funnily enough, it was like the universe attracting it to me, because it was about women's health. So I shared some stuff on there without obviously there's a small close group, nobody knows me, they're all American, and I got lots of helpful information about essential oils, which I've never used before, but I'm going to look into. And then another friend of mine who I did open up to that evening, who wasn't aware that I was getting checked out, told me about the Budwig diet. So that was really good to know. So since I couldn't sleep at all. In fact, I went to bed at 12 and I woke up at 3 and I couldn't sleep. So I'd then been up from 3 o'clock yesterday, cleaning the kitchen, cleaning the cupboards, mopping the floor, taking the kids to school, and just being in a bit of a daze and trying to chill but getting worked up. So having good and bad moments, and then not sleeping again. I phoned my GP, who spoke to me and signed me off work because I've just not got the headspace to do anything right now, because my head just keeps coming back to what's happening for me in a couple of weeks. So yeah, there's been a lot of like kind of shock and emotions up and down, and yeah, it's just been hard to explain because I guess, you know, it's not something you can share on Facebook, or, you know, even when I was waiting for my results, I wanted to like ask people to like see what their experiences have been, but who do you ask? And I wanted to talk to someone, but I don't want people, like, I literally, when I found out I had breast cancer and I came out of the hospital, I said to Paul, I don't want anyone to know. And I've got a friend that's pregnant actually. I was like, I don't want anyone to know because I don't want them to get upset. I don't want them to, you know, get stressed, and, you know, I don't want them to treat me any differently. I just want to be able to be me. And he was like, let's just take everything one step at a time. And then my sister-in-law, she's a pharmacist and she works in hospitals with lots of patients with different conditions. And she said, you need to talk about it. So pick your closest friends and share it. And you'll know when and how to share it. Just don't keep it in, because she said to me that that can be worse. Because yes, I'm really good at being a busy person, being productive and getting on and doing things. But in those moments that I will be not doing anything at all, I'll be thinking about breast cancer and what's happening a lot more intensely, and that can be counterintuitive than actually dealing with it. So I was like, okay, cool. So yeah, it's day 3. I managed to sleep last night. So I've never done this before either, but I called the doctors and they prescribed me some sleeping tablets. And I did feel a bit weird when I took it last night. But you know what? I've woken up and I feel so much more awake. I feel so much more rested. I feel so much more peaceful. I don't feel like I'm waking up tired. And I don't feel drowsy. So I think for peace of mind, to stop me going to lay down and just listening to thoughts in my head, or like staying up looking at things to distract me, and then still not being able to go to sleep because I might be playing on my phone or looking at social media or watching something, that I'm just switching off and getting a good 8 to 9 hours sleep. Because what I watched a few YouTubes yesterday, and they and that Clubhouse call that I was on have highlighted the importance of sleep in terms of recovery, cell regeneration, and looking after our well-being in that way. So that's something that I want to continue to do. And with the Budwig diet, I've ordered some stuff because I thought, you know what, there's no harm trying. So I've ordered stuff to start that. So I'm getting like an Amazon delivery today of stuff that I need to start making that. So yeah, this is where I am, day 3, and Simeon's back downstairs, so I'm going to keep you posted. Thank you for watching the video.